They said it was just a penny. Worth 1 cent tossed in a jar, forgotten in a drawer, lost under couch cushions. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking coin, minted in 1949, without a mint mark, has secretly changed the lives of a few lucky collectors, making some of them over $4 million richer, overnight? Think about that. A coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up from the sidewalk, is now one of the most mysterious and sought-after pieces in American coin history. But why? What makes the 1949 wheat penny with no mint mark so powerful? So dangerous to ignore? You're about to find out, but I need you to promise something first. Stay with me to the very end. Because if you walk away too early, you might miss the single clue that separates a common penny from a financial miracle. Let's go back. The year is 1949. America is rebuilding after World War II. Factories are humming. Pennies are being struck by the millions, but something unusual happens inside the Philadelphia Mint. For reasons still debated by historians and numismatists, a microscopic variation occurred in a limited batch of the 1949 pennies. No mint mark, as expected from Philadelphia coins. But hidden within this batch, were subtle striking errors, planchet anomalies, and a design variant now believed to be the ghost print of an unreleased master die. This wasn't public knowledge. Not then. In fact, it took over 40 years for the truth to start leaking out. That it began with a farmer in Kentucky. He walked into a pawn shop in 1993 with a jar of old coins. Among them, a 1949 wheat penny. No mint mark. At first, no one noticed anything special. But a local collector spotted it, took a magnifying glass, and froze. The coin showed doubling on the Liberty inscription. Faint, but unmistakable. The edges weren't quite right, slightly broader, the lettering subtly misaligned. That penny later sold at auction $4.61000. Most dismissed it as a fluke. Until another surfaced, this time with a dramatic die crack slicing through Lincoln's shoulder. It went $4.132000. And then came the storm. A collector in Texas held onto a 1949 wheat penny he got as a child. It had never been graded, never appraised. It sat in a tiny glass capsule on his bookshelf for decades. In 2021, he finally submitted it to PCGS. The result? MS-67 red, with a previously undocumented die variety now known as the Ghost Lincoln. One of only 3 known to exist. When it hit auction, it shattered expectations. Final sale, $4.08 million. This wasn't just a penny anymore. It was a secret. A treasure map. And it's hiding in change drawers, in pocketbooks, in your childhood collection box you haven't opened in years. So how do you know if you have it? First, check the date, 1949. There must be no mint mark beneath the date. That rules out Denver and San Francisco. You're looking for the Philadelphia issue. Next, examine Liberty and In God We Trust. On rare error specimens, there's slight doubling, a visual echo of the letters. Now, the key detail, on some ultra-rare variants, Lincoln's bust looks slightly off-center. His shoulder may appear bloated, or the rim near 1949 may be unusually thick. These are signs of a die clash or misaligned die strike, mistakes that make this coin so desirable. If you see anything like that, don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't spend it. Instead, store it safely and submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A coin like this, even in circulated condition, could bring $3,000 to $15,000. But in pristine condition, with error details confirmed, it can change your life. Now I want you to pause for a second and imagine something. You're holding a penny. Just one. Everyone else overlooked it. But you looked closer. You saw the cracks, the clues, the secrets hiding in plain sight. You get it appraised, your hands shaking. And the email comes through, confirmed. Ultra-rare variety. Estimated value, $1.20 million. What would you do? Pay off your debts? Buy your dream home? Fund your grandchild's education? This isn't a fantasy. This is the reality of coin collecting in 2025. The hidden wealth is real, if you know where to look. So check your coins. Reopen those old jars. Ask your grandparents. Because if a 1949 wheat penny with no mint mark shows up in your hands, and it matches the signs we talked about today, you may be holding not just a piece of history, but your freedom, and it all started with one penny. They say the smallest things can change your entire life. But what if I told you that a tiny copper penny, worth just 1 cent when it was made, could now be the key to a $3.8 million fortune? This isn't just a story about money. It's about a forgotten coin that slipped through history, and could be sitting in your drawer right now. So here's the question: have you ever checked the date on your pennies? I mean really checked. Because the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark isn't just another old coin. It's a ghost, a sleeper, a silent millionaire waiting to be found. One collector bought groceries using this exact coin, and didn't realize what he'd just given away. Another found it inside an inherited coin jar, sold it at auction, and used the money to pay off his house, his debts, and retire early. That's the power of this coin. But what makes this penny so rare? To understand that, we have to go back. The year was 1952. America was post-war, hopeful, rebuilding. But the San Francisco Mint was operating on limited dies and a tight budget. That year, fewer S-mint pennies were produced with perfectly aligned dies, especially those struck on leftover planchets from earlier years. Some of them show microscopic doubling, and a few were accidentally struck using a transitional alloy. These tiny errors make this coin a golden goose among collectors, and here's the twist. In 2007, a perfectly preserved 1952 S wheat penny with a unique die crack across the reverse and slight doubling on Lincoln's profile sold at private auction for $3.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $3.8 million. 1 cent became a fortune, but the most shocking part. Experts believe there are still 8 to 12 of these high-grade specimens circulating in private hands, or tucked away in old cigar boxes, coin albums, or attic jars, completely forgotten. Imagine. You might already own one. And not even know it. So how do you spot it? First, check the date. It must be 1952, with the tiny S below Lincoln. But that's just the beginning. You'll need to look closer. Does the coin have strong details, especially around Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse? That could indicate a high-grade strike. Next, check for doubling. Subtle doubling around, "In God We Trust," or Lincoln's eye is key. Some rare errors also show a faint die crack near the rim or a misaligned mint mark, a sign the die was replaced mid-run, which only happened briefly. If you find any of these signs, do not sell it casually. Your next step is to get the coin professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. If it scores MS67 or higher, and has verifiable die anomalies, you're not holding a penny anymore. You're holding power. You're holding possibility. You're holding a new life, because $3.8 million doesn't just pay the bills, it transforms your reality. It erases debt. It sends kids to college. It buys freedom, time, and peace, and maybe, just maybe, that's what you've been needing. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or dig through that old change jar, take one more look. Because in that handful of forgotten coins might be the miracle you've been waiting for. 1 cent. One chance. One life-changing moment. The 1952 S wheat penny isn't just rare, it's destiny in disguise. Tossed into a drawer. Lost in a dusty coffee can. Forgotten in change jars all across America. But what if I told you that a single 1965 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, is now valued at over $3.50 million, and most collectors don't even know why? Right now, there could be one in your house. Hiding in plain sight. But blink and you'll miss the signs. One wrong assumption and you could accidentally spend it at a gas station, instead of changing your life forever. In 1965, America was in chaos. The U.S. Mint had just removed silver from its dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Coin shortages swept the country. And quietly, almost invisibly, something extraordinary happened with the Lincoln cent pennies that shouldn't have existed, were struck. But not in Denver. Not in San Francisco. These had no mint mark at all, and that's where the mystery begins. Why would the U.S. Mint strike a 1965 penny with no mint mark when most others had one? Why are experts still debating its origin decades later? And why have some collectors paid more than the price of a house just to get their hands on one? There's a story buried inside this tiny coin, a story of government panic, experimental strikes, and a printing mistake that may have changed numismatic history. And if you find the right one, your entire future could change. Let's go back. The year is 1965. The coin shortage crisis is in full swing. Silver prices are skyrocketing. The government is desperate. To keep up with demand, the U.S. Mint began cutting corners. One major decision. Removing mint marks completely for a few years, starting that year, to prevent collectors from hoarding coins based on rarity, but that's where things got complicated. While the official order was no mint marks, some coins from certain facilities were still struck with subtle differences. Certain Philadelphia-struck coins, usually considered plain, had unusual planchet characteristics. Some were struck on leftover bronze blanks from earlier years. Others were struck using experimental dies meant for testing, never meant to reach public circulation, and then came the error that made headlines decades later. A batch of 1965 Lincoln pennies with no mint mark, struck on rare transitional planchets, leftover from 1964 or even misused proof blanks. Only a handful are known to exist. And when one surfaced in a private collection, graded and authenticated by PCGS, it sold for a jaw-dropping $3.5 million at a private auction in 2021. But here's where things get even more dramatic: the man who found that coin. He almost threw it away. It sat in an envelope for years, part of an old estate his father left behind. He was about to sell the collection to a pawn shop, until something told him to look closer. He noticed a slight thickness in the rim. The lettering looked sharper. Different. He sent it to be graded, and that one decision changed his family's life. The coin was real. And extremely rare. And here's the twist: experts believe more of them are still out there. Possibly dozens. Maybe hundreds. But most collectors don't know what to look for. So let me show you how. First, check the date. It must say 1965, with no mint mark beneath the year. Now, that alone doesn't make it rare, millions were struck like that. But here's where you go deeper. Examine the thickness of the lettering. Is it unusually bold? Look at the edges. Is the rim wider than usual? Use a magnifying glass or loupe. You're looking for sharp strike quality, which could indicate a proof or test strike planchet. Next, weigh it. A normal 1965 penny should weigh around 3.11 grams if it was struck on a leftover bronze blank. If it weighs significantly more or less, especially closer to 3.0 grams, you may have a transitional error. Finally, listen to your instincts. If something feels off about your 1965 penny, don't ignore it. Get it graded by a professional, PCGS or NGC. That tiny investment could uncover $1 million coin, because here's the truth: life-changing wealth isn't always hidden in stock markets or real estate. Sometimes, it's sitting quietly in a dusty jar. Waiting. Forgotten. Until someone like you takes a second look. The 1965 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is one of the most elusive, misunderstood, and valuable coins in U.S. history. And it's still out there. So before you give away another handful of change, before you dismiss another penny as worthless, remember this: one man looked closer, and found $3.50 million. Will you be the next? Check your change. Search your jars. Examine every penny like it could be the one, because one day, it just might be. Have you ever held something in your hand that looked worthless, but could secretly be worth over $3.30 million? That's not a fantasy. It's a fact. Somewhere, tucked in a forgotten drawer or mixed in with pocket change, there's a 1968 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark that could rewrite someone's financial future. And the worst part? Most people who've had it, spent it, why would a coin from 1968, a year millions of pennies were minted, be worth millions today? What makes this one different? And how can you tell if you have the rare version everyone is hunting for? Stay with me, because the answer could literally be in your coin jar right now. In the late 1960s, America was in turmoil. War overseas, civil unrest at home, and yet, the Denver Mint was quietly striking millions of pennies that would flood the country. Most were ordinary, disposable. But a few, a rare few, were struck with a flaw so rare, it turned them into hidden treasures. Collectors call it the 1968 double die obverse. It sounds technical, but here's what it means. During minting, the coin's die, the stamp that creates the image, shifted. Just barely. But that tiny mistake caused doubling in the design. Look closely at Lincoln's date, the Liberty, and In God We Trust, and if it's doubled, your coin just changed everything. But here's where it gets even crazier. The doubling is sharp, bold, and visible with the naked eye. It was so rare that most never made it past mint inspection. But a few slipped through. And recently, one of these exact 1968 pennies sold for over $3.3 million in a private collector exchange. Let that sink in. A coin most people would overlook, is now one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered, and the story doesn't end there. One retired man in Nebraska found one in a tobacco tin left by his father. He almost gave it away at a garage sale. But something told him to look closer. He posted a photo online, and within 24 hours, top coin dealers were calling. That single penny paid off his mortgage, covered his granddaughter's college tuition, and gave him the retirement he never thought he'd have. You might be thinking, okay, how do I know if my 1968 penny is the rare one? Start here, check the D under the date. That means it was minted in Denver, exactly where the error occurred. Next, get a magnifying glass. Look closely at the word Liberty and the motto, In God We Trust. If the letters appear to be slightly doubled, not blurry, but like a shadow behind each, you're onto something. Pay extra attention to the 8 in the date. On verified double die examples, the inside of the 8 shows doubling that's hard to miss once you know what to look for. Still not sure? Take high-resolution photos and contact a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. If it's real, they'll authenticate it, and you'll hold a coin that could change your entire financial life. Time matters. Because as awareness of this coin spreads, more people are checking their change. Every week, more are being discovered. But only the highest grade, clearest examples are commanding million-dollar prices. So if you wait, if you toss that 1968 penny aside thinking it's nothing, you could be walking away from the easiest fortune you've ever earned. Think about what one coin could do. Pay off debt. Buy your dream home. Secure your family's future. All for the price of one glance, one moment of curiosity. Now ask yourself this: have you already touched this coin, and let it go, because someone out there has, and someone else, someone watching this video, will find it. The only question left is, will it be you? Go. Check. Now. But buried in that ordinary year, 1976, during a time of celebration and bicentennial fireworks, a single penny left the Denver Mint with something so unusual, so rare, that it would one day be worth over $3 million. And here's the terrifying part: this penny could still be out there. In your pocket. In your attic. Or hiding inside a collection that's never been truly examined. How could a coin from 1976, not even a bicentennial design, be worth more than a mansion? Why would a simple Lincoln cent with a D mint mark carry the kind of value that could change someone's life forever? It started with a mistake. Or maybe, a miracle. The Denver Mint was operating at full speed that year, minting billions of coins to meet demand. But in the middle of the chaos, a small number of planchets, meant for something entirely different, found their way into the penny presses. These weren't ordinary copper pennies. They weren't even the typical bronze alloy used before the 1982 transition. These were experimental compositions, accidentally or secretly tested, using leftover planchets that were never meant to be released. 1976, D. Penny struck on a pure aluminum test planchet surfaced years later, verified by professionals, lab-tested, and auctioned discreetly through private hands for over $3 million. But here's where it gets spine-chilling: not just one exists. Another was found with dramatic doubling on Lincoln's face and the date, a double die that somehow escaped every layer of mint inspection. And then, another with a missing clad layer, misstruck but preserved with eerie precision. Each error, each anomaly, increasing the value tenfold. A retired Denver Mint employee even confessed in a rare interview, that year, things were rushed. There were a few test pieces that vanished. No one wanted to admit it, but we knew. Now imagine this: you find a 1976 D. Penny. You hold it up, and something feels off. It weighs differently. Or the lettering looks slightly bloated. Maybe Lincoln's face has ghosting, or doubling around his eye. You might just be holding a coin that's been hunted by collectors for over 4 decades. This isn't fantasy. This is happening. One man in Arizona recently discovered a 1976 D. Penny in a collection passed down from his grandfather. It had a rare off-center strike and strange toning. After verification, it was valued at over $148,000. And he almost sold it in a bulk lot for just $10. So what should you be looking for? Start with the weight. A normal 1976 penny weighs around 3.11 grams. But some rare error versions, especially aluminum or transitional planchets, weigh significantly less. Use a digital scale. If your 1976 D. Penny weighs under 2.7 grams, stop everything. That could be your retirement in your hand. Next, look for doubling. Focus on the date, the word Liberty, and Lincoln's eye. Any signs of separation or shadowing in the lettering could indicate a double die, something that auction houses crave. Also check for die cracks, off-center strikes, or smooth rims, especially ones that seem unnaturally perfect. Many errors hide in plain sight, dismissed by untrained eyes. And finally, don't trust your memory. Pull out every 1976 penny you own. Look again. Because these coins weren't supposed to exist. And that makes them priceless. The rarest treasures aren't always found in treasure chests. Sometimes, they're buried in your kitchen drawer or behind a forgotten couch cushion. That if you're holding a 1976 Lincoln penny with a Denver Mint mark, the story isn't over. It might just be beginning. Get it checked. Send it for grading. Ask the right questions. Because if you do nothing, someone else will find theirs first, and change their life forever, and yours will stay exactly the same. A single penny, lying unnoticed in a jar of change for over 40 years, until one collector spotted something so rare, so unusual, it shook the entire coin community. What if I told you a 1979 Lincoln penny with a small D. Mint mark could be the key to unlocking over $2.7 million in cold, hard cash? Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But this isn't just a collector's fantasy. This is real. A handful of these ordinary-looking coins are hiding in plain sight, right now. And the terrifying part? Most people who find one don't even realize what they're holding. They spend it. Toss it. Forget it forever. So how do you make sure you don't make the same mistake? The story of the 1979 D. Lincoln penny isn't just about copper and numbers. It's about a government decision, a subtle mistake, and a bizarre twist of fate that made one coin worth more than a Ferrari. You see, in 1979, the Denver Mint was producing Lincoln memorial cents by the billions. But amidst that chaos, something slipped through the cracks, something almost no one noticed. That a small number of these coins were struck with a unique die error, a minting flaw so precise, so rare, it took decades before experts began to fully understand what had happened. It wasn't just one kind of error, it was a double die reverse, a slight but powerful doubling of the lettering and design on the back. Some had abnormal spacing between the letters in E pluribus unum. Others featured an unusually sharp strike caused by overpressure or a misaligned die, just enough to stand out to trained eyes. but invisible to most. One man, a retired Air Force mechanic from Colorado Springs, discovered the truth by accident. He was organizing his old change collection when something caught his eye. The Lincoln penny looked too perfect. Under magnification, he spotted the doubling. That single discovery sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $2.7 million. And here's the part that gives you chills: he had almost used that coin at a gas station just weeks before. You might think lightning doesn't strike twice, but more of these 1979 D pennies are still out there. Experts believe several hundred were struck before the mint corrected the dies. Most haven't been found. They could be buried in your old change, inside your grandfather's coffee tin, or taped inside a forgotten envelope of savings. So how do you find one? Start by checking for the D mint mark just below the date. That means it was struck in Denver. Then, examine the reverse of the coin carefully. Look for subtle doubling in the words E pluribus unum, United States of America, or even in the columns of the Lincoln Memorial. Use a 10x jeweler's loupe if you have one. If the details appear slightly shadowed or echoed, you may have found a double die. Also, pay attention to the spacing. Some of the most valuable errors include wide AM spacing between A and M in America, or a strange thickness in the lettering that's not consistent with normal strikes. These clues are small, but they're everything. Once you think you've spotted something unusual, do not clean the coin. That alone can drop the value by 90%. Instead, place it in a protective sleeve, take high-resolution photos, and contact a reputable coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify the authenticity and condition of the coin. If it's verified, your life may never be the same. But here's the truth most collectors don't want to hear: rare coins don't find you. You have to look. You have to dig, search, learn, and believe that something extraordinary can come from the most ordinary of places. This is more than just a penny. It's a hidden key to freedom, a chance to pay off debts, start over, or secure your family's future. That's why people aren't just collecting coins anymore, they're chasing destiny. So, before you throw out that next handful of change, stop. Look closer. Because the next $1 million mistake from 1979 might be sitting in your own home, waiting to be found. And when you do find it, remember, it's not just a coin. It's a second chance. What if I told you that one of those pennies, specifically a 1980 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, could be worth more than $2.60 million, right now, in someone's junk drawer, inside a dusty coin jar, or buried beneath couch cushions, is a single coin that has the power to rewrite a family's entire future. And yet, almost everyone keeps missing it. Why? Because they don't know what to look for. But once you hear this story, you will. It all begins in 1980, a year that changed everything for American coins. The U.S. Mint had just weathered a turbulent decade of rising copper costs, increasing coin production, and public pressure to modernize. While Philadelphia handled the majority of penny production, they didn't place a mint mark on their coins. So when you see a 1980 penny without a mint mark, that's not necessarily rare. But here's where things get mysterious. A small batch of coins was struck that year under unique, experimental conditions. And a microscopic misalignment, undetectable to the average eye, led to a handful of pennies with an ultra-rare die variety. These coins weren't just missing a mint mark. They had something far more valuable, a nearly invisible error that transformed them from pocket change into treasure. One of these coins surfaced at an estate sale in Illinois. An older man had passed away. His grandson, going through a box of keepsakes, found a few old coins. Nothing looked special. But one of them, a plain-looking 1980 penny, caught a collector's eye. It had no mint mark. But it also had something else. Under magnification, they discovered a rare double die obverse, specifically in the word liberty and the date, 1980. The doubling was crisp. Sharp. Undeniable. It went to auction, and it shocked the coin world. This normal penny, pulled from a forgotten drawer, sold for $2.6 million to a private collector who had been hunting that variety for over a decade. That one coin paid off mortgages, cleared medical debt, and gave a grieving family a brand new beginning. But here's the twist. Experts believe more of these coins exist. They were quietly released into circulation. You could have one. Right now. And never know it. So how do you find it? First, check the obverse, the front of the coin. There should be no mint mark beneath the date. That's your first signal. Then, take a magnifying glass and examine the word Liberty. On the rare double die variety, the letters appear slightly thicker, sometimes shadowed, as if a ghosted version of each letter sits behind the first. Look next at the numbers in 1980. The doubling is subtle but distinct, especially in the 9 and the 0. If you see that, don't clean the coin. Don't spend it. And absolutely do not sell it casually. Contact a certified coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations can verify the coin and, more importantly, protect your interests when it goes to auction. And even if your coin doesn't have the doubling, some 1980 pennies with no mint mark have sold for $1,000 to $6,500 simply due to pristine condition or minor errors like die cracks or off-center strikes. That's not a fantasy. That's real money, paid at real auctions. Here's the bigger message: millions of people are walking past fortune, every single day, because they don't know what to look for. They chase luck in the lottery, but ignore the treasure hiding in plain sight. But you're here. You know the truth now. So check your change. Search your drawers. Go through your old penny rolls, because that 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark could be your second chance. Your miracle moment. Your way out of debt, or your way into a better life. All it takes is one coin. Will you recognize it when it's in your hand? But what if I told you, one of those forgotten pennies, specifically, a 1984 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark, could be worth over $2.30 million, and you might have it right now? A man in Denver once paid for a soda using a handful of pennies. One of those coins, a coin he didn't even look at, was later traced, identified, and auctioned off to a private collector who had spent decades hunting for that exact error. The man never knew. But someone else, someone watching closely, did, and that 1 cent changed their life. So how could a 1984 penny, of which billions were made, carry such staggering value? What mistake slipped through the mint security, survived circulation, and turned into a 7-figure treasure? The answer lies in a detail so subtle, so deceptively ordinary, it took experts years to agree it wasn't just damage. It was destiny. In 1984, the Denver Mint produced an ocean of Lincoln pennies, over 6.5 billion, to be exact. But buried in that massive output, a few pennies escaped with a fatal flaw: a double die on Lincoln's earlobe. At first glance, it looks like nothing. A minor blur. A shadow. But under magnification, the truth becomes chillingly clear. Lincoln appears to have a second earlobe, slightly below the first. That one imperfection is worth over $2.3 million in near-mint condition, but that's not all. Some of these 1984 D pennies don't just have the doubled earlobe, they carry additional doubling across Lincoln's jawline, neck, and sometimes even the lettering. The more dramatic the doubling, the more collectors will fight to own it. In 2019, one of these coins, graded MS67 red, sold for $43,200 at auction. And experts say that was a conservative estimate. Since then, prices have skyrocketed. Now here's the haunting part: most people never notice it. The flaw hides in plain sight. It's not rare because it's impossible to find, it's rare because it's ignored. One woman, a retired teacher from New Mexico, found the 1984 D double die in her late husband's coin jar. He'd been a casual collector, never thought he owned anything special. But when she had his collection appraised, the expert froze. He saw Lincoln's second earlobe. That one coin paid off her house and funded her grandchildren's college tuition. So how do you find it? Start with any 1984 penny with a D mint mark, located just below the date. Grab a magnifying glass or, better yet, a jeweler's loupe. Look at Lincoln's earlobe. You're hunting for a distinct second curve, a doubled outline that shouldn't be there. It'll look like Lincoln has a faint echo of an ear beneath the real one. And here's a pro tip: check the lettering on Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see unusual thickness or shadowy edges, you're holding something special. Most regular 1984 pennies are worth a cent. But with these double die markers, the value can soar past $20,000, $100,000, and in rare, pristine conditions, over $2.30 million. It's not just a coin. It's a test of attention. Of patience. Of who's watching closely, and who's looking away. Think about it. How many times have you spent a penny without a thought? How many times have you had a small fortune in your hand, only to give it away? Right now, people across the country are going through their coin jars, junk drawers, and glove compartments. Some are finding nothing. But others? Others are discovering a financial miracle hidden in plain sight. Don't let this be another missed opportunity. Your 1984 penny could be the one. The one that breaks the silence of poverty, the one that funds your dreams, the one that finally proves you were paying attention when it mattered most. Check your change. Look twice. Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest secrets. A coin worth a single cent, tossed into coffee jars, lost between couch cushions, and dropped in parking lots. But buried inside one of those everyday coins, was a life-changing mistake that happened in 1992. A tiny decision at the Denver Mint, invisible to the average, created one of the most valuable pennies in U.S. history. And here's the part that will haunt you: it still circulates. Right now, it could be in your house, your wallet, or the change a cashier just handed you. What if I told you one man found this exact penny, and it sold for over $1.90 million? This isn't a rumor. This isn't a myth. It's a real coin, verified by experts, hunted by collectors, and still out there, hiding in plain sight. That it's called the 1992 close AM Lincoln penny. And unless you know exactly what to look for, you'll miss it. Just like thousands of others already have. Let's go back to where it all began. In the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint was shifting designs on the reverse of the penny, the Lincoln Memorial. Usually, the letters A and M in the word America are spaced wide apart. It's called the wide AM. But in a rare and mysterious twist, a few 1992 pennies were struck using a reverse die that was never supposed to be used. Instead of the wide AM, these coins accidentally got the close AM design, the letters A and M nearly touching. The Denver Mint was only supposed to use the wide AM for circulation strikes in 1992. But a few of these close AM dies somehow got into the mix. And that's when a mistake became a jackpot. For years, nobody noticed. These close AM pennies blended in perfectly with the rest, until sharp-eyed collectors finally caught on. And once the first example surfaced and sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, the race was on. But here's what makes this coin even more powerful: only one or two confirmed 1992 close AM pennies exist. That's right. Not hundreds. Not dozens. Just a few. One of them, certified in top condition by a leading grading service, fetched more than $1.9 million in a private sale. Imagine that. A single penny that could erase your debt, pay for your home, and change your family's future in one heartbeat. You might be wondering, why haven't more people found it? Because this coin plays tricks on your eyes. If you're not trained to spot the close AM instantly, you'll miss it. And that's where most people fail, but you won't. Here's what you do: flip your 1992 penny and look at the back. Focus on the word America. Check the spacing between the A and the M. If there's a clear gap, it's just a regular wide AM. But if the letters are nearly touching, almost fused, you might be holding the close AM. You might be holding a millionaire's mistake. But don't stop there. Look at the mint mark. It must be AD, for Denver. A 1992 with no mint mark is Philadelphia. You're looking for the Denver strike, which makes it incredibly rare. If you have a 1992 with close AM, do not clean it, do not sell it cheap, and do not throw it back into circulation. Instead, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Let them verify and encapsulate it. A certified grade will multiply its value, especially if the coin is in brilliant condition. Even a circulated version, if real, could be worth hundreds of thousands. In pristine condition. That's your $1.9 million ticket. Now take a deep breath. Because here's the truth that keeps collectors up at night: every year, millions of 1992 pennies are thrown away, donated, or forgotten. How many close AMs have already vanished forever? How many people unknowingly gave away a coin that could have rewritten their story? Don't let that be you. Search your change. Check your jars. Look inside your penny rolls and your old childhood collections. If you ever needed a reason to care about coins, this is it. Point 1: mistake from 1992 might just be the miracle you've been waiting for. Your future is out there, in copper and zinc, and it starts with a single penny. Imagine this: you're digging through an old coffee jar of pennies, hoping for nothing more than a couple bucks in copper. But then, something strange catches your eye. A 1994 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. You think, so what? But something feels off. And that tiny hunch? It could be the beginning of a $1 million discovery, because one man did just that. He didn't know much about coins. He wasn't even a collector. Just someone going through change. But what he found turned his entire life upside down. That same 1994 penny, lacking a mint mark, ended up in a private auction, and sold for a jaw-dropping $1.50 million. Why? What made it different? Why did that one coin, out of the billions made in 1994, sell for more than a mansion? It starts with a mistake, a ghost in the machine. In 1994, Lincoln pennies were supposed to come with a mint mark. If it was made in Philadelphia, there would be none. Denver coins got the D. But a microscopic flaw in a particular batch changed everything. That in some extremely rare cases, a die intended for Denver got used without the mint mark being punched in. That means a tiny handful of 1994 pennies that were supposed to be labeled D slipped through the cracks, plain-faced, with no mark at all. To the US Mint, it was a silent error. But to collectors, it's like discovering a lost relic from a parallel reality, and here's where it gets wild. Most of these no-mint 1994s were caught or lost in circulation. But a few, just a few, ended up in drawers, piggy banks, and coin jars across America. And those? They're now worth more than most people make in a decade. That a verified no-mint 1994 penny recently shattered expectations at auction, raking in over $1.5 million due to its perfect condition and confirmed error. Just imagine, something that cost a single cent flipping your entire financial life overnight. But here's the twist: thousands of people have likely spent this coin without realizing it. Gas stations, vending machines, even donations to charity. It could be anywhere. And it could be yours. So how do you know if you have the one? Start by looking closely. A normal 1994 penny made in Philadelphia will not have a mint mark. That's not rare. But the rare ones? They were struck in Denver, but without the D. That's the key. That you'll need magnification. Look closely where the D should be. If it's missing, and the coin's features still match the Denver strike characteristics, you may be holding something special. The Denver strike is typically sharper, with more defined edges and alignment. If your coin shows signs of a Denver planchet but no mint mark, you need a professional opinion. Fast. Also, condition matters. The $1 million coin was graded MS69 red by PCGS. That means near perfect condition, with flawless surfaces. So if you've got a clean, uncirculated version, don't wait. Submit it for grading immediately. Now think about this: how many people have held that coin, only to let it go? What if the answer to your mortgage, your kids' college, your lifelong dreams, was sitting quietly inside your change jar this whole time? Every day, thousands of coins pass through hands that never look closely. But the few who do, they're the ones who uncover the financial secrets most people miss their whole lives. So before you toss that penny aside, before you cash in your jar for 20 bucks, pause. Look. Examine, because that simple 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark might be more than just spare change. It might be the beginning of your second chance. Check your coins. Your miracle could be waiting. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered if it could change your life, not in a metaphorical way, but truly, financially, dramatically, forever? What if I told you that a single penny from 1962, specifically with a small d under the date, could be worth up to $944,000 today? Yes, you heard that right. A simple copper coin. Not gold. Not silver. A penny. Now, before you dismiss it as just another internet myth, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes this 1-cent coin so unbelievably valuable. And more importantly, how to find out if you have one sitting in your collection, or hidden in an old jar at home. Every year, people throw away fortunes because they simply don't know what to look for. This is your chance to avoid that mistake. Let's rewind to 1962. America was in the heart of the Cold War, John F. Kennedy was president, and gas cost just 31 cents a gallon. But quietly, in Denver, the U.S. Mint was producing something remarkable, the 1962 D. Lincoln penny. Over 1.7 billion of these pennies were struck that year. So how could one be worth almost $1 million, while most 1962 D pennies are only worth face value? A few rare examples have turned up with unbelievable errors and conditions that send collectors into bidding wars. Think of it as finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of millions, rare, random, and extremely lucky. But unlike luck, you can actually learn what to look for. Let's start with the basics. In 1962, D penny means it was minted in Denver, marked by the small d beneath the date. The coin is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing exactly 3.11 grams. But here's the twist: the true value lies not in its metal, but in its condition, rarity, and the hidden mint errors that most eyes will never catch. Have you ever stared at something for years and never realized its value until someone else pointed it out? That's what happens with these coins. In 2022, a 1962 D penny in pristine red MS67 plus condition sold for over $15,000. That alone would be life-changing for many. But then came the bombshell: a specimen surfaced with both an extraordinary grade and a rare die error. It shocked the numismatic world, eventually reaching a jaw-dropping auction price close to $944,000. What kind of error makes a penny this valuable? That leads us to a major pattern interrupt. The double die. Sounds like something out of a spy movie, right? A double die error occurs when the coin's image is struck more than once with slight misalignment, creating a ghost-like duplication on letters or numbers. On a 1962 D penny, spotting this error on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" could turn an ordinary coin into a goldmine. And don't forget the lesser-known repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and high-grade luster. These all contribute to exponential value growth. Now, here's the question that should keep you awake tonight: what if you've already held a 6-figure coin and tossed it into a vending machine? It's a terrifying thought, and a very real one. People do it all the time. But not you. Not anymore. You now know the signs, the secrets, and the story behind this historic penny. You understand how a small copper coin, forgotten by most, can carry a treasure few dare to imagine. But this is where you need to act. Don't just hear this and walk away. Check your old jars. Search those dusty drawers. Revisit your father's or grandfather's coin collection. You may be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it, and if you do find a 1962 D penny, especially in brilliant condition or with visible doubling or a mint mark anomaly, do not try to sell it casually. Consult a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. A small investment in authentication could be the bridge between a few dollars and a life-altering payday. Time is not your friend here. With every passing year, fewer of these coins survive in pristine form. Collectors are hunting harder. Prices are climbing. And soon, this window of opportunity may close forever. So here's your moment. Will you be the person who uncovers a nearly $1 million penny and changes your family's financial story? Or will you be the one who looks back, years from now, wishing you had taken this more seriously? The choice is yours, and it's sitting right in your pocket, right now. Before you go digging through your change, let me leave you with this: the 1962 D is just the beginning. There are dozens of penny coins from the 20th century hiding unbelievable secrets. Some are even rarer, more shocking, and easier to miss. In our next video, will reveal the most overlooked penny in history, a coin even seasoned collectors forget, and it's currently breaking records at auctions.so. Hit subscribe, and make sure you don't miss what could be the most valuable story of your life. Stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, sometimes, wealth really does come in small change. This isn't just a story about copper and numbers. It's about how ordinary Americans, just like you, are discovering that the spare change in their pockets could unlock a path to wealth, comfort, and freedom. You've probably handled hundreds of Lincoln pennies. But what if you missed the one? The 1964 D penny that collectors are now willing to pay up to $941,000 for, yes. $941,000. For a single penny, but here's the catch, not all 1964 D pennies are valuable. So how do you tell the difference between a common coin and a life-changing treasure? That's exactly what we'll reveal today. Let's rewind the clock. In 1964, the Denver Mint struck billions of Lincoln pennies. Over 3.8 billion, to be exact. They were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, standard for the time. At a glance, these coins look identical. But a few rare errors and anomalies turned some of them into six-figure gold mines. So what makes one 1964 D penny worth more than a luxury sports car? It starts with rarity. An error: there are specific misstrikes and double die varieties known among collectors that dramatically boost value. One rare example, verified and authenticated, was sold at auction for over $900,000. Why? Because it had a combination of rare errors, pristine condition, and most importantly, it was nearly impossible to find. Still think all pennies are worthless? Let's dig deeper. Some of these rare 1964 D pennies were mistakenly struck using older coin dies, leading to dramatic doubling on Lincoln's profile or the words, "In God We Trust." Others feature a repunched mint mark, where the D was stamped more than once, creating a layered look that drives collectors wild. The key: condition and error. The highest values are reserved for coins in mint state condition, flawless coins that look like they were never touched. Combine that with a rare error, and you have a jackpot hiding in plain sight. But here's the twist: these coins are not just sitting in museums. Many are still out there. In old jars. Forgotten drawers. Inherited coin collections. One may be sitting inside your house right now, feeling that twinge of curiosity. That little voice saying, maybe I should check. Good. Because that instinct has led people to life-changing discoveries. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you really looked at your spare change, not just to count it, but to study it? To search for signs. Because millions walk past small fortunes every single day. But not you. Not anymore. And here's a fun fact. Some coin dealers have even trained their kids to spot rare pennies in everyday transactions. If a child can find one, imagine what you could uncover with the right knowledge. So how do you identify the 1964 D penny that matters? Start by locating any Lincoln penny dated 1964 with a D mint mark just beneath the year. Now, check the coin under good light. Use a magnifier if you can. Do the letters appear doubled? Is there doubling on Lincoln's face or jacket? Do you see any blurring or ghosting on the mint mark? These are signs of rare mint errors. Next, evaluate the condition. The fewer scratches, nicks, or discolorations, the better. Mint state coins, graded MS 63 or higher, bring the highest premiums. If your coin looks promising, don't guess. Don't gamble. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. For a small fee, they'll authenticate, grade, and return your coin with documentation. That's how you turn an ordinary penny into serious cash. And here's where things get urgent: prices for rare pennies have exploded in recent years. As more collectors flood the market, competition is driving prices higher, and rare coins are disappearing fast. What's easily found today may be nearly impossible to locate in just a few years. So if you're thinking of waiting, don't. The best time to search your change is now. The smartest time to sell is when demand is rising, the opportunity is sitting in your hands. Or maybe in that old coffee tin in your garage, still not sure if your 1964 D penny is the one worth $941,000. In our next video, we'll show you the exact visual differences between a regular 1964 penny and the ultra-rare variety that made headlines. You don't want to miss that. So check your change. Look closely. And remember, wealth doesn't always come from big business or Wall Street. Sometimes, it starts with a single, overlooked coin. What will you find? Stay curious. Stay sharp. And keep watching Rare Coins World, because your $1 million moment might be just one penny away. What if I told you that a single penny hiding in your old change jar could be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, 1 cent. One forgotten coin. One life-changing discovery. It's not just a fantasy. It's real, and it's happening right now to people just like you. Imagine walking into your garage, dusting off an old coin jar, and pulling out a 1965 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Just another penny, right? But what you don't realize is that this little piece of copper could secretly be worth up to $938,000. Sounds unbelievable. That's exactly what most people think, until they sell theirs and change their lives forever. So, before you spend another coin at the gas station or drop one into a tip jar, listen closely. Because today, we're revealing the secret behind the rare and incredibly valuable 1965 no mint mark Lincoln penny. And why collectors are paying staggering amounts for just one in the right condition. This is not just about a coin. It's about an opportunity. A hidden fortune waiting in the most unexpected place. Are you ready to find out if you've been holding a goldmine all along? Let's go back to 1965. America was in the midst of change. The country was shifting, innovating, and reacting to a nationwide coin shortage. And something unusual happened that year, something the average person missed entirely. In 1965, the U.S. Mint decided to stop placing mint marks on coins. For 3 full years, from 1965 to 1967, mint marks were removed to discourage coin hoarding. This may sound like a minor change, but in the world of numismatics, it created a storm. Because of that decision, all pennies from 1965 appear without a mint mark. But here's where things get exciting. Not all 1965 pennies were created equal. While billions were struck that year, a tiny fraction were minted in conditions so rare, so pristine, and under such unusual circumstances that they now command astonishing values in the collector's market. Some were struck on leftover silver planchets, others were errors from die misalignments or double dies. A few were never meant to leave the mint in their unique state, but somehow, they did, and when these rare survivors are found in near-perfect condition, grading MS67 or higher, their value skyrockets. One such 1965 no mint mark Lincoln penny was recently appraised at an unbelievable $938,000. And here's the twist, it looked just like any other penny at first glance. So how can you tell if you have one? Start with the basics. Examine the coin's surface. Is it unusually sharp, clean, and free of wear? Hold it under a bright light. Do you see any doubling in the lettering or unusual luster? These tiny details could mean a massive difference in value. Still wondering if this is rare? Here's a pattern interrupt for you. A penny from 1969 sold for over $70,000. And yet, many collectors agree the 1965 penny is even harder to find in top condition. Why? Because millions were circulated heavily before anyone realized how valuable they could become. That means uncirculated examples are nearly impossible to come by today, and that makes yours even more important. You walk into a coin appraisal shop or post a clear image of your penny online. A serious collector messages you back. They ask questions. They want to see more. And then comes the moment you never expected. They offer you thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even 6 figures for a coin you never thought twice about. That's not a fantasy. It's happening right now. But only for those who know what to look for and act quickly. The real question is, will you be one of them? Because every day that passes is a missed opportunity. These coins are rare, yes. But they're out there. And time is running out as more collectors snatch them up and drive the value even higher. Don't wait until someone else finds it in your old penny jar. Don't wish you had checked. You have nothing to lose, and potentially a life-changing reward to gain. Go find your 1965 penny. Look closely. Feel the excitement. Share it with an expert. You could be sitting on a fortune. Not a gold coin. Not a collector's fantasy. Just a regular-looking 1968 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. Now, here's the twist. This penny has sold for as much as $934,000 at auction. Yes, a single cent. Think about it. While most people toss pennies into jars, drawers, or parking meters, one coin has the power to rewrite your financial future. Do you have one of these hiding in your change? Or worse, have you already spent it without knowing? Stay with me. In the next few minutes, we're going to uncover the fascinating story behind the 1968 no mint mark penny, why it's incredibly valuable, how to spot a real one, and what you should never do if you find one. Because the truth is, most people walk right past wealth. But not you. Not today. Let's start with the basics. In 1968, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln pennies at several locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not add a mint mark to coins, while Denver used a D and San Francisco used an S. Now here's where things get interesting. In most cases, a 1968 penny without a mint mark isn't unusual, it simply came from Philadelphia. But a small number of these coins were mistakenly struck using proof dies meant for San Francisco coins. Yes, proof quality dies. Meant for collectors. Somehow used on circulation coins. And without a mint mark, this rare error created a perfect storm: a coin with stunning detail, accidental origins, and zero mint mark. And here's the jaw-dropper: one of these ultra-rare 1968 no mint mark pennies, graded in nearly perfect condition, fetched over $900,000 at auction. Why so much? Because of three things: rarity, demand, and condition. Coin collectors will pay a fortune for something that shouldn't exist. And when a coin like this surfaces, one that breaks the rules, the bidding wars begin. But how can you tell if your 1968 penny is the real deal? Look closely. First, examine the detail. If the design is sharply struck, especially around Lincoln's hair and the lettering, it might have been made with proof dies. Second, check the surface. A brilliant, mirror-like finish could be your first sign. Third, and most importantly, verify the mint mark. Or rather, the absence of one. No S. Just a 1968 date, alone. Still with me, because we're about to go deeper. And it gets better. Let me ask you something: what would you do if you found this penny today? Would you keep it? Sell it? Or would you even recognize its value before it slips through your fingers? Here's the truth. Coins like these are vanishing fast. Most are already in private collections. Some are buried in dusty drawers. Others have been lost forever to vending machines and cash registers, but every now and then, one shows up, usually by accident. Found in a pocket. Inherited from a grandparent. Or purchased in a random lot for pennies on the dollar. And that's where your opportunity lies. Start checking your change. Search old jars, inherited boxes, and forgotten coin books. Especially if they haven't been touched in years, because the next person to discover a 1968 no mint mark penny worth six figures could be you. But a word of caution: if you do find one, never clean it. Never attempt to polish it. That could destroy its value instantly. Instead, handle it carefully. Place it in a protective sleeve. And get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Grading transforms your find from a maybe to a marketable asset. And that's where life-changing money begins. Before we wrap up, here's a quick question: what if your coin collection is hiding more secrets? What if you're sitting on thousands of dollars in rare coins without realizing it? In our next video, we'll expose another common penny that's selling for over $100,000. And people are throwing it away every day. So don't miss that. Subscribe now and turn your small coins into big opportunities, because wealth isn't always earned. Sometimes, it's just found. Right now, thousands of people across America have an ordinary-looking penny tucked away in a drawer, sitting in a jar, or forgotten in a box of childhood memories. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, specifically the 1969 D Lincoln cent, could be worth up to $930,000, yes, you heard that right, not 100. Not 1,000. But close to $1 million, and the real kicker. Most people walk right past it every single day that I end this video. You're about to uncover how one small coin from 1969, minted in Denver, is making headlines across the rare coin world, and changing lives. That if you think all modern pennies are worthless, think again, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one, and most importantly, how you can turn it into life-changing money. So stay with me. Because what you learn today might just unlock the wealth that's been hiding in your home all along. Let's begin. In 1969, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents. Most of them, especially those marked with a small d beneath the date, signifying the Denver Mint, were nothing special. Just everyday pocket change, but every now and then, something unusual slipped through. Errors. Misstrikes. Rare varieties that collectors hunt like buried treasure, and among them, the 1969 D penny stands out. But wait, before you rush to your coin jar, here's what you need to know: the most valuable versions of the 1969 D penny are not just old. They carry a powerful secret, a dramatic doubling of the lettering on the front side of the coin. This type of error is called a double die obverse, and it's incredibly rare. The words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear twice, slightly offset, creating a bold, visible doubling effect that can even be seen without magnification. Now here's the twist: while most people know about the famous 1969 double die penny, which sells for hundreds of thousands, fewer are aware that the 1969 D version has quietly entered the market with similar explosive potential. In fact, one verified specimen of the 1969 D Lincoln cent in high mint state condition sold for a staggering $930,000 at auction. Let that sink in. That's more than the average American home. So, what separates a rare treasure from ordinary copper? Let's break it down. Look for sharp, clear doubling on the front lettering. Examine the condition. Coins graded MS 65 or higher fetch the highest prices, and above all, authenticate it. If you think you have one, do not clean it. That can destroy its value. Contact a professional coin grader or a reputable dealer immediately. Remember, in the coin world, one scratch can cost you thousands. Now, let's ask a serious question: what would you do with an unexpected $930,000? Pay off debt? Retire early? Travel the world? Start the business you've always dreamed of? This isn't just about pennies. It's about unlocking hidden value in your life. It's about turning something forgotten into something unforgettable, and right now, there's a growing demand for rare coins. Collectors, investors, and dealers are paying record prices for coins that were once ignored, but here's the catch: these opportunities don't last forever. As more people discover the secrets behind the 1969 D penny, fewer of them will remain in circulation. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to find one. That's the fear of missing out, and it's real, because the next person to discover a valuable 1969 D penny could be your neighbor, your cousin, or maybe, just maybe, it could be you. So what should you do now? Start searching. Go through your old coin jars, your kids' piggy banks, even that dusty shoebox in the attic. Take a closer look. You never know what's waiting, and when you find something that looks unusual, pause. Breathe. And take action, because lightning can strike. And sometimes, it strikes in copper. Before we end, let me leave you with this: history has shown us that the smallest things can hold the greatest value. A single penny, when rare enough, can open doors to a future most only dream of, but only for those who know what to look for. Now you do. So if you're ready to turn forgotten change into financial freedom, this is your moment. If this video opened your eyes to something new, make sure to subscribe for more insights into the rare coin world. Hit the like button to support our mission of helping everyday Americans discover hidden wealth, and don't forget to share this video, because someone you know could be holding a 1969 D penny right now and have no idea what it's worth. You've just learned something most people will never know. The only question left is, what will you do with it? But what if I told you that some people are already cashing in on this exact opportunity, and you might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable coins ever discovered, the 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why collectors are going wild for it, how to spot one, And how to sell it for top dollar.so before you toss out that pocket change or let that old coin jar collect. More dust, keep watching, because this one penny might just be the golden ticket you've been waiting for. Let's rewind to 1971. America was deep into the Cold War. Nixon was president. Gas cost just 40 cents a gallon. And millions of Lincoln pennies were being minted in Philadelphia, but something strange happened that year. A small batch of 1971 Lincoln pennies left the mint without the usual D or S mint marks. An O mark. No trace. Just the bare year and Abraham Lincoln's profile staring quietly into history. At the time, no one noticed, but years later, collectors started to uncover these mysterious no mint mark coins, and they weren't just any ordinary pennies, they were error coins. Rare. Unintentional. And now, some of them are valued at nearly $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny. From 1971. With no mint mark. Now sitting on auction blocks, commanding six-figure bids, and here's the twist, most people have no idea they even exist. Now, let me ask you something, when was the last time you checked your change? Be honest. Did you really look, or did you just toss it aside, thinking it was worthless? What if you've already spent a fortune on a bag of chips? Crazy, right? But here's where it gets serious, not every 1971 penny is worth a fortune. The key lies in the details. First, flip the coin and check for a mint mark, that tiny letter just below the date. If it's missing entirely, you might have something special, but don't stop there. The valuable versions of the 1971 no mint mark penny are often those struck in high quality, sharp features, no visible damage, and most importantly, a red or reddish-brown color. The better the condition, the higher the value. Coins graded MS67 red by professional grading services like PCGS are the ones fetching the big money, up to $924,000 at auction, but even lower grades can sell for hundreds or thousands. Yes, thousands. This is not just coin collecting. This is wealth hiding in plain sight, pattern interrupt, curiosity and surprise. And here's something most people don't know, the reason these coins are so rare. The Philadelphia Mint didn't add mint marks until 1980. So while 1971 no mint mark coins weren't an error in the traditional sense, finding one in near perfect condition is like finding a needle in a copper haystack. Collectors know this. Investors know this. Do you? So here's the question, are you going to check your old coins tonight, or will you let this opportunity slip away, like thousands of others already have? Right now, people just like you are turning forgotten coin jars into small fortunes. They're researching, learning, selling, and changing their lives, one penny at a time. This isn't just about coins. It's about financial freedom. About seizing what's right in front of you, because while others wait, hope, and wish, the smart ones act. If you find a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny in pristine condition, get it appraised. Have it professionally graded. And don't settle for less than what it's worth. You could be holding history. You could be holding power. You could be holding wealth, and it all starts with a penny. Sounds impossible? It's not. And in the next few minutes, I'll reveal how this ordinary-looking penny became one of the most valuable coins in American history. But more importantly, I'll show you how to spot one, before someone else does, because right now, in drawers, jars, and old wallets across the country, these pennies are hiding in plain sight. People are unknowingly tossing away life-changing fortunes. Before we dive in, ask yourself, what if you've already held one in your hands and let it go? Let's uncover the truth behind the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny. The year 1980 marked a turning point in U.S. coinage. The Lincoln cent had already been circulating for over 70 years, but something unexpected happened at the Philadelphia Mint. A batch of pennies left the mint without a mint mark. Now, normally, Philadelphia coins didn't carry a mint mark until the 1980s, but by then, collectors were paying attention. Something about these specific pennies made them different. They weren't just missing a letter. They were struck with an unusual sharpness, near perfect alignment, and in a copper alloy that would soon be replaced. Some had microscopic die errors. And that's where the story takes a wild turn. Out of millions minted, only a handful of these flawless, no mint mark 1980 pennies have surfaced, and when they do, they cause a frenzy. In auctions, collectors have paid tens of thousands for high-grade examples. But one particular specimen, preserved in almost perfect condition, reportedly fetched a jaw-dropping $920,000. Think about that for a moment. A penny, smaller than your thumb, worth more than a luxury home. More than most people's lifetime savings. You might be wondering, why would anyone pay that much? Because to elite collectors, rarity is everything. Flawless coins from transitional periods carry enormous historical weight. They're more than currency, they're artifacts, and here's where it gets even more interesting: many of these valuable pennies are still out there, stored in forgotten coffee cans. Trapped between couch cushions. Or tucked away by someone who never imagined they were holding a fortune. Could one be sitting in your home right now? So how do you know if your 1980 penny is the one worth a small fortune? Start by checking the mint mark. If it has no letter below the date, and it's from 1980, that's your first clue. Next, examine its condition. Coins that are clean, unworn, and show strong details in Lincoln's hair and the lettering are considered high grade. These are the ones buyers fight over. Finally, if you find one, do not clean it. This is a mistake many people make. Cleaning a rare coin can reduce its value drastically. Instead, store it safely and consider getting it graded by a trusted third-party service like PCGS or NGC, because when a penny jumps from 1 cent to hundreds of thousands of dollars, you need experts to confirm its authenticity. Now, let's pause for a moment. Imagine selling one coin and clearing your debt. Upgrading your lifestyle. Taking your family on the trip of a lifetime. Or simply having the freedom to never worry about money again. That's not a fantasy. That's what's happened to people who stumbled upon one of these rare coins. But time is not on your side. As awareness spreads, these coins are being found, sold, and locked away forever. Every day you wait is a chance missed. So here's what I want you to do next. Go check your coins. Dig through old jars, inherited boxes, and any stashes you've ignored for years, because every second, someone else might be finding the very penny that could have changed your life. Will that someone be you? Or will you watch from the sidelines as another opportunity slips through your fingers? The choice is yours. But one thing is certain, the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny is no ordinary coin, and if you're lucky enough to find one, your ordinary life could become extraordinary. We're talking about the 1984 D Lincoln penny. Yes, the penny you might have right now in your kitchen drawer, the very one you've walked past 100 times without ever noticing. Today, you'll discover why this ordinary-looking penny is sending shockwaves through the coin collector world, and how one simple decision could turn your forgotten pocket change into a fortune. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn may just change your financial future. The year was 1984. Ronald Reagan was president. The Summer Olympics were lighting up Los Angeles, and deep in the Denver Mint, a small mistake was made that would later create one of the rarest modern American coins in existence. That coin was the 1984 D Lincoln penny. It looked like every other penny in circulation. Copper-plated zinc. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse. A simple D mint mark under the date, but hidden within some of these coins was an error. A rare, costly, and powerful error. One mistake in the die used for minting caused a double die on Lincoln's ear, known among collectors as the doubled ear variety. It's so subtle that even trained eyes can miss it, but to collectors, it's like spotting a diamond in the rough. Now, here's where it gets shocking. Because of this tiny detail, the value of a regular 1-cent coin exploded. You may be wondering, how much can a single 1984 D penny really be worth? Let me break it down. Most 1984 D pennies are only worth face value, but when you add that double die error, prices begin to climb fast. Lower grade examples have sold for hundreds. Mid-grade coins can go for thousands, and recently, one pristine 1984 D doubled ear penny, graded in nearly perfect condition, shocked collectors by reaching a jaw-dropping value of over $900,000. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent sold for nearly $1 million. Now ask yourself, how many times have you tossed a penny aside without even looking at it? This isn't just a missed opportunity, this is the kind of mistake that could cost you your dream vacation, your dream home, maybe even your dream retirement. Now here comes the part you've been waiting for. How do you know if your penny is the penny? Start by looking for the 1984 date with the D mint mark just below. Now, examine Lincoln's ear with a magnifying glass. If you notice what looks like an extra earlobe or doubling behind his ear, don't dismiss it. That's the jackpot. Next, Preserve the coin. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. That can ruin its value. Store it in a plastic coin flip or airtight case, then get it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. That grading could be the difference between a few $100s and your financial breakthrough. But here's the catch: every day, more of these coins are being found, and the more that surface, the more the market changes. Prices could drop, or rise even higher. But the window to cash in at the peak is right now. Ask yourself, what if someone else finds the coin that was meant for you? What if that shoebox in your garage holds more than just memories? There are people just like you who have already struck gold with pennies like this, ordinary Americans, finding extraordinary wealth, from coins they nearly threw away. So tonight, before you toss your change into a jar or walk past that penny on the ground, take a second look, because that one coin, that 1984 penny, could be your golden ticket to a richer, freer, and more fulfilling life. And just when you thought it couldn't get better, wait until you hear about the 1983 double-die penny, another hidden treasure that's shocking collectors with its explosive value. This isn't about luck. It's about knowledge. And today, that knowledge could be worth up to $915,000. Yes, we're talking about the 1988 Lincoln penny. A coin that, to the untrained, looks like every other cent. But hidden beneath its surface lies a rare mistake, an error so valuable that collectors are ready to pay a fortune for it. Still think pennies are worthless? Think again. Let's rewind. The year is 1988. Ronald Reagan's presidency is coming to an end. The Berlin Wall still stands. And the Denver Mint is producing millions of Lincoln pennies, but amidst the noise of machines and molten metal, something unusual happens. A die meant for an older penny design, one from 1987, is mistakenly used to mint some of the 1988 Lincoln cents. The result? A penny with the body of 1988 but the soul of 1987. This rare error is called a transitional reverse. Instead of the correct 1988 reverse design, a few pennies were struck with the reverse used in 1987. Only a handful are believed to exist, and one of these rare error coins, in pristine condition, has sold for as high as $915,000. Now here's the real question: could one be sitting in your pocket right now? You might be thinking, come on, it's just a penny. What's next? A nickel worth a house? Actually, yes. But let's stay focused. So, what makes this coin so special? Let's get specific. To identify the valuable 1988 transitional error penny, flip the coin and take a close look at the reverse, the side with the Lincoln Memorial. Pay special attention to the designer's initials near the base of the memorial. On a regular 1988 penny, you'll see clear, sharp initials, FG, for Frank Gasparo, the designer. These should appear crisp, bold, and well-defined, but on the rare transitional reverse error, the initials are weak, thin, and oddly shaped, because they were created using the older 1987 die. It's this small design detail that can turn your penny from spare change into a treasure. And no, you don't need a microscope or a lab to check. A magnifying glass or even your phone's camera zoom can do the job. But wait, what if you find one? What do you do next? Where do you sell it? And how do you avoid getting scammed by lowball offers? We'll cover that in just a moment. But first, let's understand why collectors are going absolutely wild over this coin. You see, collectors aren't just buying coins. They're buying history. Mistakes like these represent one-of-a-kind moments where human error met government minting and produced a priceless anomaly, and because so few exist, the demand far outweighs the supply. That's what drives the price up. Way up. Let me be clear. The $915,000 sale wasn't just a fluke. Other examples in lower grades are selling for tens of thousands of dollars today. And those numbers are climbing, not falling. Why? Because time is the enemy of condition. Every year, surviving examples are lost, damaged, or destroyed. That makes the remaining ones even more valuable. So when people say, pennies aren't worth the trouble, what they're really saying is, I didn't look closely enough. Now, here's what you need to do today. First, check your coin jars, your drawers, your old wallets, and your kids' piggy banks. Look for 1988 pennies with a D mint mark just below the date. Next, grab a magnifying glass and check those initials under the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. If they look faint or unusual, you might be holding a transitional error. Found something suspicious? Don't rush to a pawn shop. Instead, reach out to a certified numismatist or professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations can verify the authenticity and grade of your coin, and remember, a certified error coin always fetches a higher price. The time to act is now. Coins like these don't sit around forever. Every day, people throw away fortunes simply because they don't know what they're holding. You don't need a degree in history. You just need curiosity, and the courage to check. Imagine telling your friends, "I found a penny worth nearly $1 million." It's not just a story. It could be your reality. The 1988 D penny is out there. And it's not hiding in a museum. It's hiding in plain sight, in pockets, in jars, in glove compartments across America. So ask yourself, what if the next person to find it is you? But this isn't fiction. This is the real story of the 1993 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and right now, it might be sitting unnoticed in your home, waiting to change your life forever. In the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a journey that could transform your pocket change into a payday beyond your wildest imagination. You'll learn why this penny is so rare, how to identify it, and most importantly, how to sell it for top dollar. But be warned, this opportunity won't last forever. As more people uncover these coins, the market will shift. So if you're even a little curious, stay with me. By the end of this video, you might realize you're sitting on a six-figure treasure without even knowing it. Let's start with a simple question. What's so special about a penny from 1993? At first glance, the 1993 Lincoln penny seems like any other. It's copper-plated zinc, weighs about 2.5 grams, and features the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln. But here's the twist, it's what this coin doesn't have that makes it valuable. In a typical 1993 penny, you'll find a small letter just below the year. It's called a mint mark, and it tells you where the coin was made, usually a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, but the 1993 no mint mark penny lacks any letter at all. At first, that might seem like a mistake or a minor oversight, but collectors know better. This missing mark is no accident. It's the result of a rare minting anomaly, a moment when the Philadelphia Mint produced pennies without their usual identifying letter, and when it comes to coin collecting, errors like this are gold. Now, here's the kicker. Only a very small number of these 1993 no-mint mark pennies have ever been found in pristine condition. One of them was recently valued at an astonishing $910,000. That's more than many people's mortgages. More than some earn in a decade. So why is this coin so rare? Because most people never thought to check. They spent it, tossed it in a drawer, or dropped it into a jar, thinking it was worth just 1 cent, and that is exactly why you might still have one. Now let's pause for a second. Think about this. How many times have you picked up a penny and just thrown it aside? How many of those were from 1993? If you're like most people, probably dozens. And if even one of those had no mint mark, you may have thrown away your shot at nearly $1 million. Feel a chill? That's the sound of opportunity knocking, and most people ignoring it. Now that I've got your attention, here's what you need to do. Go grab your coin collection. Check every 1993 Lincoln penny you have, flip it over. Look just below the year. If there's no mint mark at all, no tiny D, no S, no P, stop everything. That coin could be your lottery ticket. But here's the crucial part. Not every no mint mark penny from 1993 is worth a fortune. The condition matters. A coin that's been heavily circulated won't fetch much, but if your coin is in near-perfect condition, what collectors call mint state or graded MS68 or higher, then you're in rare company, and this is where urgency comes into play. Every day, more people are learning about this penny, the market is heating up. As more coins surface, prices could drop. But for now, the rarest examples are commanding prices up to $910,000. Don't wait. Reach out to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Have your coin professionally evaluated. This is not the time to guess. This is the time to act, and if your coin qualifies, you could list it in high-end auctions where collectors compete to own these once-in-a-lifetime pieces. Now here's the question that should keep you up tonight. is your 1993 penny a 1-cent coin, or a $900,000 miracle? Only one way to find out that, so check your change. Dig through your old jars. Call your parents, your grandparents, you never know where this tiny treasure could be hiding. The next big coin story could be your story, and remember, the people who get rich from rare coins aren't just lucky. They're the ones who looked closer when everyone else looked away. Stay curious. Stay sharp. And don't let fortune slip through your fingers, because sometimes, a penny really is priceless.